Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Satan and Coffee. I hope you're all doing absolutely wonderful this morning. You got your coffee ready or whatever it is that you drink in the morning. It's good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Phoenix Rising, Mercedes, Wave. Happy to see all of you. So, this morning is an interesting one. So, there are some things from earlier in the week that I want to touch base on that we didn't touch base on last week. It's things that are a little bit more historically relevant when we're talking about Lucifer, the morning star, things of that nature. Um, so I just wanted to talk about that. And then there's a new kind of another topic that I wanted to get into here. So, but first, let's break down the historical things, right? Because we were talking about or getting into um, kind of like Isaiah 14:12, things of that when we're talking about Lucifer, talking about the morning star, we're talking about, you know, Lucifer before the fall, or what we could align with Lucifer before the biblical fall of Lucifer. And I want to be specific. I'm not by any means theist in the sense of um, biblical theology, but I do believe that theology, that those stories are relevant, and then the stories surrounding them are equally as relevant. So for those of you that don't know, I do heavily work with Lucifer, but I work in Lucifer in the sense of a triptych. So I look at Samael, Lucifer, and Satan as different aspects of the same entity, that I just use Lucifer as an overarching term for all three, because I believe that when we do look at the story of Lucifer, when we do look at the biblical aspects of things, um, it's almost like there is kind of like a move, right? A transformation that happens. Lucifer begins as Samael, his angelic name. His rebellion brings him the name Lucifer. And then with his fall, he becomes Satan. So there's three different aspects of the same entity, and each one is significantly more angry than the previous. And so I work with Lucifer in that lens. But that's just me. That doesn't mean that you have to. But I feel that trying to work with them as different entities, it's to say that, like, there's my government name, and that's me. But Adius is also me. Adius isn't a character. Right, and I always get irritated when people call, like, they say that, like, Adius Date character that you play, and it's like, I feel like Adius Date is an evolution of not just content creation, but my understanding of life. Right? I'm pushing 40 here, right? I'm 39. And I always get paranoid, like, to going off track here a little bit. I always get like freaked out when famous people start dying, like people that I grew up listening to or watching. I mean, within like a few days of each other, it's Ozzy, then Hulk Hogan. It's like, oh my God. Right. And, um, you know, uh, just kind of crazy. But I feel that Adius is it's still who I am. It's just an evolution of everything kind of coming together. I'm still my government name. Though I hate it, I'm not a fan of my government name. Adius is still who I am. It's an evolution. This isn't a character that I'm playing online for people to see. Like, I mean, who's talking to you right now is if you were to meet me in person, I'm the same person. Angela Satanic could be back on. I'm open to it. I just don't know if it's going to be anytime soon. We are trying to get guests on the show at least once a month. So this month for July, we've had Shahar. So he was our guest for this month, and or at least for Apocrypha, not for Satan and Cofee. And Satan and Cofee is a solo show, but definitely for Apocrypha, I'm trying to get a guest on, at least once a month, right? So I don't know if anytime soon. I haven't had conversations with her at all recently, so blasphemous satanic trinity. Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, yeah. I mean, Mercedes has the right idea. It comes in threes, right? And it just makes sense to me. That's the thing, right? Because the way people work with those entities, or those names rather, in ritual, is as if they're separate entities. So I'm working with Samael, I'm working with Lucifer, I'm working with Satan, and I'm just always kind of sit there. I'm like, it irritates me almost just as much as like the Christians that turn around and sit there and say that like Jesus is God. It's like, nowhere in the Bible does it say Jesus is God. Nor does it say that like he's the embodiment of God. He's just kind of like a representative. And if you go through that story, like, it wasn't even born of God. He was born of an angel, right? Which, I guess by proxy is an extension of God, but it isn't God himself. Yeah. So, I mean, the idea is to try to keep the conversation going, right? Like I like to have different people on different perspectives, different ideas, and not all the time like occult based, but just alternative lifestyles and things like that for Apocrypha. Satan and Cofee is exclusively occultism. But what I wanted to get into here, right? It's kind of the meat of the history that I was talking about earlier, about the information about Lucifer, what the parallels of Lucifer, and Prometheus, and things like that, like the actual research, right? And I wanted to put that out there. So we've got Isaiah 14:12, the corruption of Helel ben Shahar, right? Thou art fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And the Hebrew the original Hebrew version of this is Helel ben Shahar, shining one, son of the dawn. This isn't about Satan. It's a taunt against a Babylonian king, Isaiah 14:4, right? The term Lucifer is a Latin mistranslation added by St. Jerome in the Vulgate, 4th century. Jerome used Lucifer, Latin lightbringer, for Helel ben Shahar. Later, theologians mistakenly turned this poetic insult into a demonic myth. How to use it, or how we kind of go about it, right? To better explain it, Lucifer wasn't a fallen angel, right? He was a bad translation with a good PR team. Originally, Helel ben Shahar was a poetic jab at a corrupt king, not the Prince of Hell. But once the Latin Vulgate changed the name, the church ran with it. That's how language was used as a weapon of myth making. Right? So this I always thought was kind of like the most interesting part, like, of the research that I did, right? Is where kind of like Lucifer kind of comes in. The Enuma Elish and the Prometheus parallel, right? The Enuma Elish, Marduk slays Tiamat, the chaotic dragon, and creates the world. The gods create humanity from the blood of a rebellious god, Oingu. Rebellion is literally baked into human existence. Blood I will mass and cause bones to be. Let a ghost come into existence from the god's flesh. Prometheus. Like that's directly from like this, the history there. Prometheus defies Zeus by stealing fire and giving it to mankind. For this, he's chained to a rock, and his liver is eaten daily by an eagle. I gave them fire, and they will become like gods. Prometheus gave humans the fire of the gods and was crucified for it. Sound familiar? The theme repeats in every culture: a divine rebel punished for liberating humanity, from Prometheus to Kingu to Lucifer. The fire isn't just light, it's knowledge, rebellion, and the price of awakening. That's where all of this kind of comes in. The Apocryphon of John, Gnostic text, 2nd century, right? The true God is beyond comprehension. The lesser creator creates the material world in ignorance. Sophia, divine wisdom, creates Yalabahoth without the Father's consent. Sophia and the others send a redeemer, often Lucifer-like, to awaken humans to their divine spark. They do not know the mystery which has been completed concerning the true human. In Gnostic scripture, the God of the Bible is not the Most High, he's the jailer. The devil in this story is the liberator, the one who whispers the truth. You are more than dust and obedience. That liberator, that's Lucifer and drag. Exactly, Maeve. Exactly. Gospel of Judas, found in 1978, fully translated in 2006. Judas is not a traitor, but the only apostle who understood Jesus. Jesus tells Judas, you will sacrifice the man that clothes me. Jesus laughs at the apostle. Worship, saying they serve a false god. You will exceed all of them, for you will sacrifice the man that clothes me. Even in early Christianity, there were heretics who saw the truth. The betrayer was actually the chosen one. Just like Lucifer, vilified, exiled, but closet to the flame, closest to the flame. Judas and Lucifer are mirrors. Both chose betrayal over blind obedience. Both were punished for seeing too clearly. Right? And then Lucifer, Princeps by Peter Gray, right? Scarlet Imprint, 2015. A theistic Luciferian text that digs into pre-Christian classical and magical roots of Lucifer, argues for a restoration of Lucifer as a deity, not a symbol, weaves history, myth, and poetic invocation with razor-sharp insight. So some notable quotes from this. Lucifer is not the adversary, he is the ally of those who would seek to rise. The figure they call Satan is not my God, Lucifer is. Peter Gray said it best, Lucifer is not the adversary, he is the ally to those who would rise. This isn't metaphor, this isn't LARPing, right? It's religion older than kings and cleaner than holy water. Lucifer isn't a scapegoat. He is a sovereign. Okay, and so the reason I wanted to get into all of this into more details is I wanted to provide like what it was that I was reading and what it was I was looking at when I wrote that episode, when I wrote Wednesday's episode. Because there is history behind it, right? It's not just opinion. It's not just an idealistic view. of, breaking out of that Abrahamic mindset. And unfortunately, in order to fully break out of an Abrahamic mindset when we're looking at, these types of things, we do have to look at the Abrahamic texts. We do have to look and understand where the Bible is getting its information from in order for us to fully break away from it. There's something that needs to be understood here. At least I believe that needs to be understood. Anything that we do as occultists that is aligned with the Abrahamic triptych. And again, for those that don't know, the Abrahamic triptych is Christianity in all of its forms, Judaism, and Islam. That is the Abrahamic triptych. They are all Abrahamic religions. And they all overlap with each other, right? All three of them recognize Jesus. All three of them recognize God, though they give God a different name. All three of them recognize each other's events. It is the perfect way to cross-pollinate belief in Abrahamic faith, is to create three separate faiths that overlap with each other, contradict each other to a certain degree, but at the same time validating the other one, right? Judaism doesn't deny the existence of Jesus, just denies that he is anything more than a prophet, right? And it's the same with Islam. Islam doesn't deny the existence of Jesus, it just denies that he's the son of God. So all three of them existing is the reason why each one is so powerful in the way that it is, because each one validates the other one while providing just enough contradiction, just enough adversarial views against the other to make it believable. Now, my issue with Abrahamic faith is the idea that the entirety of Abrahamic faith exists solely for the purpose of limiting the occultist. And here's the thing, right? Why does it limit the occultist? Because they were afraid of us. Why do you think the fucking Crusades happened? The Crusades happened not because they wanted to spread God, it's because they wanted to end the occultist. They wanted to end us. And when they realized that we weren't going anywhere, they gave us a little bit. They gave us a little bit out of the basement of the Vatican, right? Even though it kind of predates the Vatican. But they gave us a little bit out of the basement, so to speak, right? They gave us just enough to be dangerous to ourselves, but not enough to do anything to prove them wrong. And that's where you get the Goetia, that's where you get the Klipvoth, that's where you get all of that, right? And most of that is Jewish mysticism. There's Christian mysticism, but I honestly think Christian mysticism is just bullshit. And of course, like I've always said, of course, there's a lot of magic in Christianity. Of course, there is. Like everybody's like, "Well, have you seen all the the magic and occultism that's in Christianity?" Well, of course, I have. It's stolen. I'm not going to validate them further and create an entire circle of belief around their bullshit to validate the mysticism that's in there, right? And then the problem is like, because so many people are obsessed with the idea of a fucking egregore, right? They won't be, well, a bunch of people fucking believe in it, so there's power in it, so we might as well fucking run with it. It's like our ancestors were onto something. Think about that for a second. Our ancestors understood this shit. We're a fraction of the way through. We're barely touching the surface of where our ancestors were at before the Crusades. And the reason we don't know where our ancestors were then is because all that shit was destroyed. The Abrahamic triptych, I mean, they made sure of that shit globally, right? Like now you can go conspiracy theory with it and, throw out there that, each separate religion was in charge of, destroying, that part of the world's connection to occultism. Islam would be, Sumerian and all of that, and Pazuzu and all of that stuff. Christians, the European world. I mean, look at what happened to the fucking Vikings. Look at what happened to the Norse. Like, the Norse were essentially kind of like the last bastion of fucking, full-on pagans. And, even what we fully understand of them is, poetic at best. Our ancestors were onto something. They knew something. They knew something that we don't know. They knew how to make things happen in a way that we simply don't. And I'm so tired of seeing people falling into this trap of taking the scraps that we're giving, running with it, and then calling it gnosis, calling it liberating. And I'm going to reiterate a point here. I'm not saying that the demons and the Goetia don't exist. I'm not saying that working through the Goetia doesn't work. I'm not saying working through the Qliphoth doesn't work. I believe that it does, wholeheartedly, 100%. But it's watered down. It's limited. It is enough for you to be dangerous to yourself and nobody else. And it's built that way by design. It is designed that way. Like, occult means hidden, working with and uncovering the hidden, Now, there's an argument to sit there and say that, just because we're working with texts and things like that that are publicly available and aren't inherently hidden, that we're uncovering things of ourselves. And that's true to a certain degree. But there's only so much gnosis you can get about yourself, about your personal work as a human being in improving yourself. Though I do think that that is extremely important. And the first step that you need to go through as an occultist is uncovering your own shit. But after that, there's so much more. Why do I think it was built that way? It's control. That's why it was built that way. It's control. It's the thing is why, again, I'll reiterate the point once again. Why do you think the Crusades happened? Well, why do you think it was so unbelievably important to spread the word of God and force people to convert? Adopting pagan holidays and things like that and incorporating that into the faith. Christmas, Easter, all of these things. Why do you think it's there? We've known that for fucking ever. We've known that since fucking the 60s at least, if not before. That, those holidays were stolen, that they aren't Christian holidays, that they're pagan holidays. Do you think it stops there? Do you think that's it? That's all they did? That's all they stole? That's all they took from us? They took everything. And I think, unfortunately, that where we're at right now in society, right, is we're in a position in society. We're kind of getting into meat of today's episode. Because what we're dealing with are dead gods and dead screens. And yes, I'm going to get into the tech part of this. The world is drowning in overstimulation and at the same time starving for meaning. Hollywood, music, even modern magical spaces are caught in endless loops of reboots, remakes, regurgitations, and there's nothing new. Like it's amazing to me that there's so much content out there. Like everybody and their grandmother literally has a TikTok account, Facebook account, an Instagram account, a YouTube account. Everybody and their grandmother are making videos and are making content in reels and this, that. And in a time where content is so plentiful, it's all repetitious regurgitation of the same shit. Not an original idea, thought, or anything. Nothing. It is the epitome of dystopian control. And we're inviting it in with open fucking arms. Like, it's disgusting. And just like our entertainment, our spiritual systems, yes, even our witchcraft and magic have become corporatized cosplay. That's what it's becoming. And it pains me to say this, but altars, like, I mean, look at the Instagram and the TikTok witch. The altar isn't a magical space anymore. It's a fashion statement. Think about it. People look at altar setups the same way they look at computer desk setups. Right? Cottagecore, minimalism, goth. Fucking disgusting. The left-hand path is not supposed to recycle the sacred. It destroys it and builds fire from the ashes. That's what the left-hand path is supposed to do. The world today is simultaneously over and under stimulating. ADHD is so prominent, I fully believe, because of things like TikTok and like short video formats, but not to mention the overstimulation and indecisiveness of choice. There's so many choices. And it's all the same thing. All of it. Same thing. Even magic has become another commodity, another Instagram aesthetic. And there's a point where it's like, okay, that's not necessarily a bad thing. To want to be aesthetically pleasing to yourself when you're building out your altar. Your altar's a personal space. It's not like your desk setup. It's not like your fucking living room. Why are you sharing it with the world? Like, I mean, there's not anything inherently wrong with sharing it to the world, but if you're sharing it with the world with the intention of getting likes because of what your altar looks like, what the fuck? Because that's all it's turned into. But where's the work? Like, people are buying shit off of fucking Amazon, throwing it onto their altar, creating these very elaborate altar setups. Where's the work? What work are you putting in? Like, and I know for a fact, and I'm not going to say how I know this, but I know for a fact that half of the fucking people that are posting their altars all over online and shit like that say that I'm a dedicant of this and I work with that and I work with this, have maybe knelt once in front of that fucking altar to do anything. Exactly, Mercedes. Exactly. That's exactly it. They become more about fancy decor than items that mean something to the practitioner. That's the important part. It needs to mean something to you. Like what you put on your altar needs to have a connection for you to something larger than yourself. That's the point. But now it's just all about Baphomet statues and Lilith statues and this thing and putting the sigil there and the fancy incense burner and the candle holders and the type of candles that you're using and getting a picture with the candles burning and shit. Overstimulation isn't good, but my mind analyzes everything well before how the world is today. I analyze how I communicate and how people communicate. Exactly. But the problem is we're constantly overstimulated. I mean, it happens with me. I have ADHD, right? And I'll sit there and say, it's like, okay, I'm going to jump on Threads and I'm going to post something. I need to post something on Threads. And before I hit the post button, I start reading. And then I scroll and scroll and scroll. And before I know it, a half an hour, 45 minutes has gone by and I haven't posted shit. It's designed that way. It's designed that way. Here's the thing. I found a few tools that let me take my videos, turn them into extra content, break them down, and upload them without ever having to open up the social media apps. And I do that now. I don't open up social media to upload to it. And I need that because of the ADHD. Because I'm very easily distracted. And social media is a fucking disease for people like me. It is designed to lower productivity. Social media does not want you to be productive. And here's the thing that needs to be remembered. When all of this shit came out, when it was just Geospaces and MySpace and stuff like that, it was called a social network. It was a social networking app. That's what it was. Now it's called social media. Why? Why the change in name? Well, social networking implies that the idea is that you are socially networking through people that you already know to meet other people in order to advance yourself. It's a way for you to meet new people. That was the idea, for people to be able to connect to each other and meet each other. Now it built by design. It is no longer designed for you to grow your network and the people that you know. It is designed for you to sit there for an hour, doom scrolling, consuming and doing absolutely nothing. Social media does not want you to be productive. It doesn't. By design, it is built that way. It is built to anchor you down and stop your growth. Now, I'll scroll through Instagram a few times, but it has taken me a very long time to curate my feed to be focused on the occult and graphic design. Those are the two things that I see in my feed. That's it. And I use it for inspiration for the things that I do. It's taken me a very long time to curate my Instagram feed to show me things that I want to see, that I find inspiring, that make me want to get off of the app and actually make something. But for the most part, all about consumption. It's all about consuming. It's all about doing nothing. That's what it's about. So, yeah, like I said, even magic has become another commodity, another Instagram aesthetic, but the real work, the real flames, that shit doesn't get filtered. The world's addicted to content like it's heroin. And it's just as numbing. And you can't call the spirits with a dopamine dead soul. You can't. Hollywood recycles the same IPs because they fear risk. Most modern spirituality mirrors this. Endless remakes of Wicca, whitewashed crystals, rebranded Catholicism, and moon water. People fear confronting true power, so they mimic the motions, never summoning real change. We don't need more comfort, spells, and tarot affirmations. We need blood in the bowl and a will that terrifies heaven. Real left-hand path work isn't safe, digestible, or algorithm friendly. Talk about the difference between performance spirituality and ritual as transformation. That's the difference between what we're talking about when we talk about the Instagram posts and what the actual left-hand path is. That's the difference. You've got performative spirituality, and then you've got stuff that then your actually work, the actual work that's done. Most people are performative. Most people are trying to sell a course, sell a package. And don't get me wrong, I got my own shit. I've got an Infernal Compass, but here's the fucking difference. Here's the fucking difference. I want you to do the work. I'm not here to do the work for you. And it's one of the reasons why people have such a hard time digesting the shit that I do. Because I'm not here to tell you that I'm going to do shit for you. I'm not going to do the ritual for you. I'm not going to do the spell work for you. I'm not going to do the communication for you. I'm going to build you so you can fucking do it. That's the fucking point. That's Infernal Compass. It's about you changing, not you changing the world around you. And that's another thing inside of the occult. Inside of the occult, we've gotten obsessed with this idea of changing around us, but accepting zero fucking accountability or responsibility for our own shit. And trust me, I know it fucking hurts. I know it hurts to take accountability for your own shit. I know it hurts. I know it does. But for fuck's sake, I mean, you need to do it at some point. You can't keep running away from yourself. Like, you know, I think one of the reasons why, like, I don't blow up online, it's for me, it's too easy. It's way too fucking easy to sit there, do a few spells and rituals and shit, film it, throw it up online, and then start talking about what I can do for you to change the world around you, and that you're perfectly fine and you're a perfect little human being and you don't have to do shit, but my work, I can change the world around you, morph shit and move shit. And so that way the world will move in the way that you want it to. No, because it won't. And get the fuck over it. The world is not going to move the way that you fucking want it to. No matter how many spells, how many fucking rituals you do, look at your own shit. Look in the mirror. You want change, you need to change. And that's what I do. I help people to change. The people that are ready to take responsibility for their own shit, that want to work through the pillars, that want true, meaningful connection to Lucifer, Lilith, Asmodeus, Leviathan, Helel, Baphomet. True, meaningful connection that will serve you for the rest of your life. Working through the pillars to change yourself, to open up yourself. That's power. You want shit to change, you need to change. It's that fucking simple. So many people are so obsessed with this idea of magic exists to change the world around me. And yeah, we can do that. But it doesn't fucking mean anything unless you change, unless you evolve. Exactly, Mercedes. It's not going to work like that. It doesn't work that way. And that's what Infernal Compass is. So don't get me wrong, I've got my own shit. I'm selling my own shit. And I've already told people, if I could do this shit for free, I really would. Like, if I could do Infernal Compass for free, if I could do it completely 100% for free, I would. But I gotta eat, man. Like, you know, I have to eat. So, yeah. I think the difference between what I offer and what other people offer, and it's not to say what other people offer isn't meaningful. But the biggest difference between myself and others, and everyone that I've seen, is that my shit is for you to change so you can change the stuff around you. Not for me to change the stuff around you for you. Which eventually stops working. Just does. Right? We've got more practitioners than ever before, but less power. Your altar isn't decor. It's a fucking gateway. And if you're not coming out of ritual changed or shaken, you're not doing magic. You're playing dress up in the ruins. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Your altar is not decor. It is a fucking gateway. And if you're not coming out of ritual, changed or shaken, you're not doing magic. You're playing dress up in the ruins. The left-hand path is inherently creative, but it's destructive first. Lucifer didn't reboot heaven. He walked out and built a kingdom in exile. Belial teaches you to destroy structures, not decorate them. Baphomet teaches you to embrace chaos and recombine it into something original. The true occultist doesn't recycle. They invent, invoke, and incinerate. You weren't born to follow a template. You were born to burn through it. So, I want you guys to think about something from now until the Sunday show. When was the last time magic terrified you? And yeah, magic should terrify you. You should come out of a fucking ritual shook. You should. Like, if you're coming out calm and fucking collected and shit, you're not doing the work the way that you need to be doing it. When was the last time it terrified you? When was the last time you created something without permission or precedent? Are you a consumer of symbols or a creator of storms? I want you to think about those. You don't have to answer those questions right now. You don't ever have to answer me. I want you to think about them. And I'm going to ask those questions one more time. When was the last time magic terrified you? When was the last time you created something without permission or precedent? And are you a consumer of symbols or a creator of storms? Something to kind of reflect on from now until the Sunday show, the Sunday sermon. This world doesn't need more creators. It needs more Lucifers, more originators of fire. So stop watching, stop scrolling, start conjuring. And if it breaks the world, good. The world is fucking boring. That's the idea, guys. That's the precedent. Right? So, break the world. Exactly. Exactly. And as far as the infernal compass stuff is concerned, you know, it's out there. But, you know, blackmagicdiary.com. There's a whole section dedicated to it. There's information out on my website, adiasdade.com. You guys can book a free 30-minute session with me in regards to the infernal compass. And when you book that session, you get the first pillar for free. Send you a pamphlet. You can work through it. And then your first session's free. So you can get a vibe of what it's for, what it does. You know, if you feel that's something that you need. Memberships, there's memberships on the channel. You just want to support. I give you as much as I can with those memberships. Generally at a loss, but, you know, I do it anyway. Mercedes, thank you for becoming a member at the left-hand path tier. Honestly, Ave. Truly. But also the memberships include readings, sessions, things like that. Look at your perks and then hit me up on Discord and ask me when you want to kind of, you know, schedule some stuff. So at base tier, you get a 15-minute reading. And at the left-hand path tier, you get a 30-minute reading. So there's that. And there's other stuff that's included in there as well. So just give it a look, give it a check, see if there's anything you're interested in. Obviously, Dyra herself, she, you know, offers spell work and things like that. She's the ritualistic arm of the business here. So, you know, any spell work and stuff like that that you want, like she'll do that. And, you know, when it comes down to, you know, the self-help stuff, like you building yourself up, working through your shit, that's where I come in. Because I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not nice about it. But the legit aspect of it here is that I do care. I do give a shit. It's not about the money. It's about you coming out the other side of your shit. It's about you actually being able to come out the other side and feel whole again. To merge with that darkness that exists inside of you, the shadow and the ego. So that's what the infernal compass is. That's why it exists. And I believe in it. I do it. I truly believe in the process. It's taken me a very long time to develop the process, and the process is there. So, and it's not just for occultists. It's not just for people that believe in the demonic. You don't have to be left-hand path to want to use the infernal compass. The infernal compass isn't designed to make you left-hand path. It's designed just to make you accountable and help you understand your own power, your own ability, your own control to come out on the other side of shit. That's what the infernal compass is. Because there isn't a map and a guide to get through this shit. Like, it's ironically named intentionally. Like, the infernal compass isn't an actual compass that's going to show you a direction that you need to go in your life. So, with that being said, thank you everyone for being here. You guys are fucking amazing. I love your faces. For those of you that are members of the channel, thank you very much for your continued support. You can see them in chat. They got the little devil head next to them. Mercedes, Maeve, your continued and perpetual support is greatly appreciated. And even those that aren't members that come every day that I do a live, that you are here taking time out of your day to watch my goofy ass. Thank you. It's greatly appreciated. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you the next one. It's the fuck.